Yo, it's Kier, and today's list is my least favorite horror movie tropes from mostly modern horror movies. Obviously, all of my lists are very biased because they're my opinion, but this one is specifically going to be pretty fucking biased. These are tropes that I've seen done well. I'm not saying it as a blanket statement, but for the most part, I think are either overdone or they were like done once or twice really well, and then it's a lot of people kind of chasing that high, trying to fulfill what that other director did and not really doing it as successfully. So, number one of my least favorite character tropes of all time in a horror movie. I don't know if there's a real proper term for this kind of character, but I call it the cool rad guy who likes cool rad sex. There's so many examples of this, but some of my least favorite in the sense that they didn't really do anything other than kind of fill the role of a character quirk because the writers just didn't want to give them any sort of depth. Trent from the Friday the 13th, 2009 remake, Blake from House of Wax, 2005 remake, a lot of early aughts remakes here. Frankie Cheeks from Final Destination 3. They're just characters who just drive me fucking crazy because they unfortunately can't mention anything that doesn't revolve around sex. It like tries to be this very like Brad, Chad, do you know who my dad is kind of person. And it just always falls flat with me. I've seen it done well, I guess, but it's just played for cheap laughs, which I don't respect. Next, this one is unfortunately super overdone in very recent years, but the main character who no one believes because they have a past history of mental health issues or trauma or addiction. I understand that if we were to get rid of this trope, A24 would cease to exist, so I know that we need to keep it. But what drives me crazy about this trope is like, it just feels very one-dimensional on the side of the characters who don't believe them, because it's almost always somebody who knows someone very well and for some reason is like, this is something they'd make up or whatever. And it always feels very disingenuous to me. Best example is, I think, Rose in Smile. The scene where she gives her nephew the cat and her sister immediately is like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? And doesn't think for 1 second, like, hey, I have known you my whole life. I do believe maybe you were framed or something. Has always driven me crazy. But other examples, like Annie in Hereditary, Mia in the 2013 Evil Dead. I think her name's Riley, the main character in Hellraiser 2022. Same thing with addiction issues. Cecilia in Invisible Man 2020. It just makes me, bleh, you know? Next is movies where the character is in school and what they're learning about in class has to do with what the themes of the movie are. Halloween did it great. And then Nightmare on Elm Street did it well. And then everyone else, no shade. I don't think that it hasn't been done well since, but Hereditary did it, obviously. Weapons did it recently. And I know that like it is a good tool for filmmaking, and it might just come from the fact that like I went to school for this, and so I also can like, I don't know, sometimes I just like see some of these coming a mile away, and maybe it is more impressive if you're not like deeply entrenched in the art of like a script writing. But it just feels like anytime there's a character in school, the writers seem to think like they couldn't be learning about something that doesn't have some sort of like narrative connection to the themes. Sometimes it's just a little too perfect, you know? What are the odds? Again, I don't mind it, but what I hate is when you watch a movie and you can tell like the screenwriter felt like they did something. Like they were like, this is gonna make some jaws drop, you know? Again, this is my personal opinion. Don't come for me in the comments. I'm just kidding, you can. We have fun here. That's not a real gun. Next is when the two kind of main characters who are going through whatever journey are exes. Like when that is their connection to each other. It is a great tool because it makes it interesting. It's not just a romance. It's not family. It's people who have a history. I think like it works on paper very well. And I think the first few people who did this like slam dunk. But I get a little sick of it because I get it. You want us to feel like a will they, won't they a little bit. And you also want us to feel like they have history. And you also want us to be rooting for them and whatever. The Ring, As Above, So Below, Smile, Vacancy, technically. They're whatever. They're getting divorced, but that counts. But like, I think it adds interestingness to the film, but let's find that next thing. Someone's got to unlock another like juicy relationship quality that's not just that. Because I'm over it. And if I'm over it, that's the word of God, so everyone must obey, you know? Lastly, and this brings me no joy in saying I don't love it, because I want to love it every time, but the dollhouse that's like a replica of the house that the movie's in, and like kind of like a replica of the people in it. Every time I want to love it. Every fucking time. It just starts to feel a little like, how'd I know that was going to happen? Because there's kids in it, right? Hereditary again. Sorry, Hereditary's on so many of this list. I fucking love that movie, but it does hit a lot of things. I also think it started a lot of things, so I'm not saying that it copied, but you get it. The Lodge, obviously. Bly Manor, a little. They don't use it a ton, but you know, I get it. It's symmetry, it's a metaphor, it's all those things. Very smart. Next. That's my list. What do you guys think? What did I miss on this list? I actually can't wait to read these comments for this one. Okay.